the 300 series, Toyota's flagship vehicle in the iconic LandCruiser range. The day we got our hands on one, we immediately saw the potential. Now, with almost half a decade of R&D, Just Autos is proud to offer 3 performance packages to take your 300 series to the next level.
300 series package 1. Well, this is the entry level into the packages that we offer here at Just Autos, and in this package we have the Just Autos multi-map, Just Autos intake pipe, and a Just Autos heat exchanger. You're going to get a 30% increase in power and torque, and this is really for those people that want to be able to have the safety, reliability, but also have a bit more power, especially when they're towing those smaller camper vans. This is a really good starting point.
At the core of Package 1 is Just Auto's industry-leading multi-mapping. It lets you switch between different modes in your LandCruiser by using the factory cruise control.
Map 0 engine immobilizer. The engine immobilizer is a really good bit of gear. It's one that I really like, and it gives you extra peace of mind and security. What it is that you can put it into Map 0, the car will stop, you can leave the car, come back, day, 2 days later, go to start the car, and the car will not start unless you take it out of your engine immobilizer mode. It's a really good peace of mind for that extra security. We're not going to go through the functionality of how to get in and out in this video because that would defeat the purpose. However, when you book in with any of the Just Autos distributor or Just Autos itself, the service people will go through with the functionality and how to do that. Map 1, idle up. If you're like me and you're camping and you want to charge that extra secondary battery and you want to do it quickly, the best way of doing it is having that engine idle up enough to make that alternator more efficient. Now, these days, a lot of people have a lot of battery packs and a lot of accessories on their cars, so we're very energy hungry. So to have the alternator after you've been using the car for, say, a 24-hour period and you want to charge those batteries back up or give them a top up before you start for the night, you can just have the car run for a few minutes sitting at 1500 RPM. It gives it a really good chance of being able to get those batteries topped up and not have to worry about anything else in between. All right, so we're in Map 2 at the moment. Map 2 is a single turbo mode. So what Map 2 means is the fact that we are driving in a single turbo and it's not allowing it to switch to the large turbo. So back in the day, we found when the 300 series were first released, they had problems with surging in between the 2 turbos. We evolved and we made an intake pipe as well as some software changes to pretty much reduce that down to a 90% fixed. However, in the interim, we had a single turbo mode. Now we found a lot of people really like this mode. It got really good consumption. It eliminates the surging completely. However, there is a downside, and that is because we're only running on one turbo and not both turbos, at 2200 RPM where the second turbo would come in, the first turbo is only coming in, so that means that we have to drop the power, boost levels and airflow off, and that's where the torque starts to drop off as well. So it still has that 600 Newton meters, around 1800, 2000 RPM area, but once you start to get that 21, 22, the torque starts to drop off there. So if you're towing in, say, manual mode and you're just wanting to use that particular area of rev range, it works really, really well. It's not a problem, and you don't get into the point where you're going to be oscillating and having that problem with surge. That's what Map 2 does. It's a single turbo mode designed for giving you maximum power under 1800 RPM, but it doesn't give you any more power past that 2100 RPM area. Map 3, twin turbo towing mode. In this particular map, we designed it to be a twin turbo mode in the new release of the version 3. What was really cool about this is because we have the intake pipe that allows us to reduce that surge, this mode was designed around towing efficiency and also reliability with temperature. And so we're really trying to make sure that we can get a reduction in temperature, keep it consistent without having any of those temps start to flare up. This mode works well in the fact that it still gives you the power above 2100, unlike the single turbo mode. The single turbo mode falls over, that's because we're only running one turbo. This turbo mode is very similar to factory, however, it does have a fair bit more power and it works really, really well for towing. Map 4, power mode. Well, this map is all about power. It's where all the power comes in. It's where the car picks up a huge amount of drivability. It is actually the map that I drive most on. And the reason for that is because it gives you that pleasurable driving experience. You can definitely have high numbers, which are impressive, but this is all about that experience when you are driving. So I really do like this Map 4. Map 5, Power Plus. So in this map, we have a little bit more power than you would have in Map 4. However, we've got some fun functions in here, which is like launch control and lumpy idle. We put them in there for a bit of fun. It definitely gets people turning their heads, and the cars, as they launch and accelerate from this particular mode, there is a fair bit of power to be had out of these cars. Special functions. Well, special functions in the 300 series, there's quite a few to list off, but the first one I'll go with, which is a lot of people always talk about, is having cruise control in manual mode. And what that means is having the shifter in sports mode, where you have it over to the right-hand side and you can manually select up and down gears. We are locking the converter, holding the converter locked in, but also we can then select cruise control and hold those gears. So when you're coming to a hill, it won't down change. It'll hold that unless you get to a threshold where the car is doing 40 kilometers an hour and you're trying to do it in 8th gear, it'll drop you back. However, you can hold those particular gears with cruise control now in place, and that works really, really well. The other thing we have is the converter lockup, which we briefly just talked about. We have it where now when we select that mode, that the converter will stay engaged and lock up and stay locked in when you're in those particular gears. This way it stops the converter hunting up and down, especially when you're doing a lot of that heavy towing around hilly areas where it can be quite annoying. And this is designed to keep transmission temperatures in check. One of the key features that I love in version 3 multi-mapping is our pedal sensitivity. So what that means is that we can hold the cancel button down and we can select up to 6 different pedal sensitivity maps. The great thing about this is that if you're doing low range work in rocky hills, you can turn it right down so you're not bunny hopping where the throttle's too sensitive. But if you want something that's a little bit more spicier, where you really like that sensitivity, well, you have the options. You can choose it, put it up, and you can change whenever you want, however you want. You may have a style that you like, but your wife might jump in the car, or partner, and you may find that they want it a little bit less, and that's okay. It's just about having those options there, and I think that's what makes it really special as well, is that this is all built in, nothing plugged into the car. It's all software built into the ECU that allows you to do this function, and it works extremely well. The other special functions we have in place, we have the engine light set up in a way, so if your car starts to get warm from either coolant temperature, or you have a problem with boost pressure or something along those lines that is going to cause a problems, we flash the engine light. We don't pull all the power away from you, we just do a nice gentle engine light flash to let you know that there is something going on. It's like a pre-warning before it actually happens, and we think that as far as having so many gauges and trying to monitor things, we figured that it's up to us and our job to give you the information to ensure that you don't have any problems moving forward. And a lot of times is that the problem will really start to come up and you didn't know anything about it. So this way we feel as though it's a pre-warning message that gives the ability and confidence knowing that if you're driving along, you see an engine light, then you can pull over and we can have a look at it and we can assess from there. Hardware for your 300 series. These two components are a part of every package, and I'm going to explain why we put them with every package. This is our Just Autos intake pipe. We spent a lot of time doing R&D with 888 on this. We had the engineers look over it, and we designed this intake pipe to reduce the surge that is really, really common and known for in the 300 series. So that's why we believe it should be with every single 300 series package. Not only does it help with that noise, it gives the car a massive difference in performance and response by adding this pipe. The next item is our heat exchanger. It was one of the first items we released with the 300 series, and we noticed that when you start pushing these cars, your intake temps will start to rise. Now, if anyone's ever seen, they've been up the beach or towing heavy loads in a standard car and you're getting exhaust valve DTCs that come up on the dash, it's because your intake temps are exceeding what has been put in there. The reason for that is because we've got 2 little heat exchangers on the side, and they only hold around about 1.5 litres of volume of coolant. So we decided to make a heat exchanger that bolts in conjunction with the 2 factory ones, so we're adding more volume as well as a larger cooler that has the factory fan pulling air through that condenser radiator and also through our particular heat exchanger. The good thing about this is that it really does reduce our intake temps, and it helps with having those long cruises up hills where you're having that reduction in power, and you can maintain power for a lot longer by having one.
So if you want a Just Autos package for your vehicle, get in contact with one of the performance advisors who are happy to answer any of your questions. Just Autos is now nationwide, so we can get you booked into your local installer.